Sometimes, serial killers get the opportunity to talk in front of the camera, and after hearing these interviews, people get shocked to the core. Why is that? Want to know how terrifying those interviews are? Well, we are going to show you the cases where killers made spine-chilling revelations. Here are 10 disturbing interviews with killers. 1. Dr. Harold Shipman, a general practitioner from Nottingham, United Kingdom, who appeared in a British TV show in 1982 to talk about care in the community. Dr. Harold Shipman was responsible for an estimated 230 killings between 1975 to 1998. He used to falsely diagnose people with ailments and inject them with lethal amounts of diamorphine. Besides the TV interview, another clip was captured the day he was arrested and charged with mass murder, where he can be seen smiling while pardoning a journalist for stepping on his lawn. 2. Jeffry Dahmer. Dahmer was an American serial killer and sex offender who killed and dismembered 17 boys and men from 1978 to 1991. He was interviewed multiple times when he was in prison. In all the interviews, he can be seen as a calm and smart guy, always smiling and laughing. He enjoyed reliving his crimes and even laughed at them sometimes. These interviews are sure to give you the chills. 3. Ted Bundy. Probably one of the most infamous serial killers in history. Ted Bundy was charismatic and very intelligent. He had no remorse for the act that he had raped, murdered, and dismembered 30 women and children and played with their corpses and body parts for weeks. In his interviews, he can be seen justifying his acts and talking about religion. In his last interview, he tries to explain scientifically the reasons why he was a serial killer and rapist. 4. Dennis Nilsen. Nilsen killed at least 12 young men who were either homosexual or homeless. He targeted them because in those days the media used to shun homeless and homosexual people. There is a very arrogant interview of Nilsen from 1993 where he can be seen enjoying his life even behind bars. He proudly explains his acts and expertise in killing people. He addresses the journalist in a condescending note. Also, when police question him about his crimes, he yawned throughout the whole process. 5. John Wayne Gacy. John Wayne Gacy killed young men and children and had all the signs of a psychopath in his interviews. In a TV interview broadcast in 1992, he claimed to be a family man who never hit kids. At one point, the reporter opens his shoelace and gives it to Gacy, asking him to demonstrate how he killed his victims. Gacy in response joked, saying that the reporter was in trouble now. Gacy also asked him if he wasn't afraid of sitting so close to him. 6. Richard Ramirez. Richard Ramirez, also known as the Night Stalker, killed 13 people from 1984 to 1985 and was convicted in 1989. In an interview, he defended his crimes, stating that he was only doing it on a small scale, whereas the government was doing it on a larger scale. He even said that even psychopaths have feelings, but was quick to add, or maybe they don't. 7. Ed Kemper. Ed Kemper was convicted of killing 10 people, which included his mother and grandparents. Multiple interview clips can be found of Kemper where he describes his gruesome murders. He explains how he mutilated their body after the killing and buried them. In the interview, there is not even a flinch in his body while detailing these things. He seems calm throughout the video. 8. Gary Ridgway. In the 1980s, Gary Ridgway murdered 49 women who were either prostitutes or runaways. He mostly killed them in his pickup truck while having sex and then dumped their bodies and around the Green River in Washington. A slew of police interviews released since his arrest show him as a goofy-looking middle-aged guy who gave no evil vibes and talked calmly and pleasantly. He had been successful in evading the police but was arrested and convicted in 2003. 9. Charles Manson. Charles Manson was one of those killers who always justified his crimes in front of everyone, including interviewers. He claimed he was innocent and blamed society as a whole. His elaborate evil plan was to trigger a race war by asking his disciples to murder some of the richest and most famous people in Los Angeles. He formed a cult in California in the 1960s, mostly for runaways for him to brainwash. 10. Issei Sagawa. Issei Sagawa was a Japanese killer who murdered a woman, Renée Hartefeld, in France and ate her flesh for the next 3 days. He also performed necrophilia on the corpse. In an interview, he explains how he murdered the unsuspecting woman and butchered her body. He called it as being his fantasy and that eating her flesh was more of an obligation than a desire.